Welcome back. Time now for the player introductions at the 67th Annual All-Star Game. Here's public address announcer Dan Baker.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the 1996 American League All-Star team. First, the trainers. From the Kansas City Royals, Nick Swartz. And from the Oakland Athletics, Larry Davis. The coaches. From the Cleveland Indians, Toby Harrah and Jeff Newman.
Hi, Tom. All right.
From the Chicago White Sox, Terry Bevington. From the Kansas City Royals, Bob Boone. And in the bullpen, also from the Cleveland Indians, Mark Wiley and Dan Williams. And now the American League All-Stars. From the California Angels, pitcher Chuck Finley and pitcher Troy Percival. From the Chicago White Sox, elected but unable to play due to injury, first baseman Frank Thomas. Pitcher Roberto Hernandez. From the Cleveland Indians, catcher Sandy Alomar. Pitcher Jose Mesa. From the Detroit Tigers, third baseman Travis Fryman. From the Kansas City Royals, pitcher Jeff Montgomery. From the Milwaukee Brewers, outfielder Greg Vaughn. From the Minnesota Twins, second baseman Chuck Knobloch. From the New York Yankees, pitcher John Wetland. Pitcher Andy Pettitte. From the Oakland Athletics, first baseman Mark McGwire. From the Seattle Mariners, shortstop Alex Rodriguez. Catcher Dan Wilson. Infielder Edgar Martinez. And outfielder Jay Buhner. From the Texas Rangers, pitcher Roger Pavlik. From the Toronto Blue Jays, outfielder Joe Carter. And now, tonight's starting lineup for the American League. First, the manager of the American League from the Cleveland Indians, Mike Hargrove. Leading off from the Cleveland Indians, center fielder Kenny Lofton. Batting second from the New York Yankees, third baseman Wade Boggs. Batting third from the Baltimore Orioles, second baseman Roberto Alomar. Batting fourth from the Cleveland Indians, left fielder Albert Belle. Batting fifth from the Boston Red Sox, first baseman Mo Vaughn. Batting sixth from the Texas Rangers, catcher Ivan Rodriguez. Batting seventh from the Baltimore Orioles, shortstop Cal Ripken Jr. Right fielder Brady Anderson. Batting ninth from the Cleveland Indians, warming up in the bullpen, pitcher Charles Nagy. And now, the 1996 National League All-Stars. First, the trainers from the Atlanta Braves, Jeff Porter. And from the Philadelphia Phillies, Jeff Cooper. The coaches from the Atlanta Braves, Jimmy Williams, Pat Corrales, and Ned Yost. From the Philadelphia Phillies, Jim Fregosi. And also in the bullpen from the Atlanta Braves, Leo Mazzoni. And now the National League All-Stars. From the Atlanta Braves, pitcher Greg Maddux. Pitcher Mark Wohlers. And pitcher Tom Glavine. From the Chicago Cubs, pitcher Steve Traxel. From the Colorado Rockies, infielder Eric Young. And outfielder Ellis Burks. From the Florida Marlins, outfielder Gary Sheffield. And pitchers Al Leiter and Kevin Brown. From the Houston Astros, first baseman Jeff Bagwell. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, pitcher Todd Worrell. From the Montreal Expos, shortstop Mark Grudzielanek. Outfielder Henry Rodriguez. And pitcher Pedro Martinez. From the New York Mets, catcher Todd Hundley. From the Philadelphia Phillies, pitcher Ricky Bottalico. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, catcher Jason Kendall. From the St. Louis Cardinals, shortstop Ozzie Smith. From the San Diego Padres, elected but unable to play due to injury, outfielder Tony Gwynn. And third baseman Ken Caminetti. And now tonight's starting lineup for the National League. First, the manager of the National League from the Atlanta Braves, Bobby Cox. Leading off from the New York Mets, center fielder Lance Johnson. Batting second from the Cincinnati Reds, shortstop Barry Larkin. Batting third from the San Francisco Giants, left fielder Barry Bonds. Batting fourth from the Atlanta Braves, first baseman Fred McGriff. Batting fifth from the Los Angeles Dodgers, catcher Mike Piazza. Batting sixth from the Colorado Rockies, right fielder Dante Bichette. Batting seventh from the Atlanta Braves, third baseman Chipper Jones. Batting eighth from the Houston Astros, second baseman Craig Biggio. Batting ninth from the Atlanta Braves, warming up in the bullpen, pitcher John Smoltz. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1996 Major League Baseball Stars. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the singing of the Canadian National Anthem by Canada's own Sarah McLachlan.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons' command. With glowing hearts we see the true north, strong and free, from far and wide. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
And now, to honor America, please join Kelsey Grammer as he sings our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave
The 67th annual All-Star Game is next. We'll rejoin Bob Costas along with Bob Uecker and Joe Morgan for the first pitch right after these messages from your local station.
Welcome back to Veterans Stadium. First pitch of the All-Star Game just a few minutes away. And as we rejoin you from the booth, Joe Morgan is here along with Bob Uecker. One is a 10-time All-Star, a 2-time MVP, and a Hall of Famer. The other is simply Mr. Baseball. To Uecker in a moment, but first, Joe, we'll talk about this all game long. But this outburst of power, it's been building for a few years, but this year, it's out of control. 27 is the record back in 1987 for most major leaguers with 30 or more home runs. At the present pace, 64. Yeah, 64 guys would hit 30 or more. What's going on here?
Well, this All-Star Game has a chance to rival a 1971 game where 6 Hall of Famers hit home runs, highlighted by Reggie Jackson's shot on the roof in Detroit. With the exception of the World Series, this is baseball's biggest show, and every player here would like to do something special tonight. In fact, singles won't even count unless they drive in runs. And so I think tonight every player will go to the plate thinking, yes, go for it.
Well, that was the National League philosophy apparently last year in Texas. They had only 3 hits. All of them were solo homers. They won the game 3-2. They say that good pitching will stop good hitting, but well, there's an awful lot of hitting here.
That's the story, Bob. And tonight a pair of right-handers in Charles Nagy, an 11-game winner with the Indians. He's a breaking ball type pitcher, throws a lot of off-speed stuff. On the other side, you've got John Smoltz. As a matter of fact, it's a rematch from Game 3 of the World Series last year. Smoltz at 14-4, strictly power, great fastball, breaking ball, and a split-fingered fastball to go with it.
And here is the lineup that John Smoltz will face. And the change is Mo Vaughn of the Red Sox in. For the injured Frank Thomas. Thomas has a sprained left foot. He played through it in an important weekend series against the Indians and expects to be back in the lineup on Thursday when the second half of the season begins for the White Sox against Kansas City. But he is unlikely to even pinch hit tonight. He simply was introduced. So Bell will hit 4th and Vaughn starts at first base and bats 5th. The defense now behind Smoltz.
Well, you'll have Dante Bichette in the outfield, Lance Johnson. You'll have Dante Bichette in right field, Lance Johnson in center, Barry Bonds in left, Chipper Jones at third, Barry Larkin, Craig Biggio, and McGriff on the right side, John Smoltz on the mound, and Mike Piazza behind the plate.
And while we have a chance, here are the umpires. Randy Marsh of the National League will call balls and strikes. Larry McCoy from the American League at first. Charlie Relaford, National League, at second. Joe Brinkman, American League, at third. Left field line, Larry Poncino of the National League, and Chuck Merriweather of the American League will call the plays down the right field line. Muggy night, chance of rain, some fell earlier. Game time temperature around 80. First time the game has been here in 20 years, appropriately in the bicentennial year of 1976. The Vet played host to the game. Lofton likely to lead the American League in steals for the 5th straight time. And he's 2 for 2 lifetime against Smoltz. Got 2 hits against him in Game 3 of the World Series. Flashbulbs popping all around the park on Smoltz's first pitch. Chipper Jones in close at third. Lofton a threat to drop a bunt. And a called strike. Moments ago, the ceremonial first pitch. And I thought we were going to take a look at it here, but we'll wait until Lofton's at-bat is ended. One pitch. They check at third. He did not go around. Outfield shades him slightly to left. And he hits it up the middle and through for a base hit. So Lofton with his 42 steals. He's more than aggressive. He's often daring. He's aboard to start the game. The ceremonial first pitch. 5 Philly Hall of Famers. Mike Schmidt, Robin Roberts, Richie Ashburn, Steve Carlton, and newly elected Jim Bunning. And all the American and National League catchers came out to be on the receiving end. Wade Boggs now in his 12th All-Star game, 11th in succession. He doesn't swing and miss often, Joe.
No, and this is a perfect situation for the American League. Lofton can steal a base, and he's very successful against Smoltz in the World Series, and Boggs, perfect #2 hitter.
At age 38, Boggs hitting .331. Lofton not going, and a fastball high and away. Completely consistent, career .334 hitter, and within 3 points of that as he moves up on age 40. He needs a couple more productive seasons after this one to get 3,000 career hits. He's going on the 1-1 pitch. He had a tremendous jump, and he's in there.
You described it perfectly, Bob. He had a great jump on Smoltz, who has a very slow delivery to the plate, as you can see. Piazza has not been successful this year throwing out base runners, but Lofton had such a great jump. He stole that on the pitcher, not the catcher.
I don't think Johnny Bench or Mickey Cochran would have gotten him, but Piazza, as you say, has gunned down only 14 of 95. Poor percentage. Boggs now lifts one sky high, and Chipper Jones calls. 1 out. On the other hand, the American League starting catcher, Ivan Rodriguez, is a tremendous thrower, one of the best in baseball.
Well, I put him in the class of a Johnny Bench, who Joe saw many times, and I had the opportunity to play against. I don't think this guy takes a backseat to anybody in baseball. Piazza may be a little bit better offensively, but Rodriguez, as far as catching and throwing, I mean, he's unbelievable. He loves to throw to bases, picking guys off. He can take a picture out of a jam. He's tough. He really is. He's a great catcher.
A strike to Alomar, who flirted with 400, in fact topped it in early June, but he's tailed off and down to 352. Playing with a jammed ring finger on his left hand, hurt it diving head first into first base a few days ago against the Red Sox. 1-1. For Robbie, All-Star game number 7, 1 with the Padres, 5 in a row with the Blue Jays. This is first as an Oriole. Fastball making Piazza's glove pop. A ball and 2 strikes. Smoltz, at age 29, is appearing in his 4th All-Star game. The loser as a 22-year-old in the 1989 game at Anaheim. Leads the majors in wins, though he has lost his last 3 decisions. This ball is hit hard toward the gap in right center field, and coming on to make the catch is Lance Johnson. Tagging at third is Lofton, and he sprints in there. So Lofton moves up from second to third, but with 2 out.
Here's that little charge by Lance Johnson. You won't find too many guys who will do this. I mean, it's got to be a guy with speed who will tag and go to third. You don't want to take a chance on getting thrown out. Johnson throws the ball pretty well. He got to that one quickly, but Lofton, as you see, in there easily. And a good play by Jones to knock down that throw and stop it.
Albert Belle, booed yesterday during the workout, booed during the introductions. Booed, although at lower decibels, as he walked to the plate here in the first.
You would think that a guy would get tired of being booed, Bob, and maybe do something about his image.
I don't know if Albert thinks he has an image.
Well, outside of Cleveland, he might be regarded as the man Will Rogers never met.
I know one thing, he's meeting some serious gas from Smoltz here in the opening inning.
1-1 pitch. Couldn't catch up with it.
players in the National League will tell you that John Smoltz has the best stuff of all the starters on the Atlanta Braves. And we get a look at this hard slider diving away from Albert Belle. No chance there. He has more margin for error than any of the other starters. The other ones are great finesse pitchers.
And it holds at 1-2. Belle has 27 home runs, but just 2 in his last 22 games, and his batting average has dipped beneath 300 at 293. Lofton at third with 2 down in the top of the first, and another 1-2 pitch from Smoltz to Belle. Struck him out. Lofton opens with a single, steals a base, but Smoltz strands him after half an inning at the vet. No score. The National League has won the last 2 All-Star games. They lead the series, which dates to 1933, 39-26, with a tie thrown in. And here's their lineup put together by manager Bobby Cox. Lance Johnson of the Mets moves into the starting lineup when Tony Gwynn had to beg off with an injury, followed by Larkin, Bonds, and McGriff. Piazza, the league's leading hitter, real rarity for a catcher. Bichette, Jones, Biggio, and Smoltz, who is, should he have to bat, a good hitting pitcher, as are most of the Braves starters. Lance Johnson leads the majors with 13 triples. Swings at the first pitch, slaps it to left. Belle comes on and can't get there. Skids to block it. Johnson speeds for second. Daring play. And in there safely.
This is what Lance Johnson does best. He swings at the first pitch quite often, but actually 2 good plays here. A good play by Albert Belle. This ball is smoked in the gap in the left center field. Now this is actually a good play by Albert Belle just to keep the ball from going all the way to the wall. Now he gets up and throws to second. He actually makes it a close play, but just good hustle by Lance Johnson beats the throw. So good play by Albert, who's not known for his defense, but Lance Johnson is known for his hustle.
Here's 8-time All-Star and reigning National League MVP Barry Larkin. Up and in from Nagy for a ball, even as fast as Johnson is. If Lance Johnson isn't thinking extra base hit from the moment he leaves the batter's box, no chance.
No chance. You're right.
And a called strike from Nagy.
You know, if that ball gets by Belle too, Joe, it's run all day for Johnson. That might have been an inside the park home run.
Johnson dancing off second as Nagy delivers. Hit to the right side. The runner moves up as ALOMAR throws to Vaughn to retire Larkin.
Larkin always does the little things. That's why he was the most valuable player in the league last year. He will give himself up, hit the ball to the right side as he did there to move Johnson over to third.
Well, Albert Belluke is not exactly Gold Glove quality, but a good play here.
No, I'll tell you what, a lot of credit goes to Albert Belle for the play right there. But you know, one thing that people don't know about Albert Belle, he's got a great arm. I mean, this guy makes some good throws from time to time. I know once in a while he butchers a ball in the outfield, but he can throw.
This will get a run home. Vaughn to Nagy covering. RBI for Bonds on the ground out. 1-0 National League.
Well, that sort of tells you that Mike Hargrove feels his team is going to score a lot of runs. They just gave that run away in the first inning.
So Johnson doubles and comes around on a pair of advancing groundouts. And McGriff bats with the bases empty and 2 outs. Strike one in a tailspin, just 17 of his last 100. And he, like Belle, has slumped beneath 300 at 296 with 20 home runs. They checked at third, and Joe Brinkman said yes, he committed, so it's 0-2 to McGriff.
Well, here's that last check swing, or not A check swing by McGriff and a good call by Brinkman, it looked like. We always get a second chance up here, but not downstairs.
Inside 1-2.
Joe, how many times have you had a check swing and didn't think you went around? All the time.
Probably
right?
99% of the time.
Didn't miss by much. Nagy making his second All-Star appearance. Pitched for the American League in the '92 game at San Diego. 11-2 for the year. Fastball up and in, and after being ahead 0-2, now the count is full. Nagy's ERA is 3.53. That might seem unspectacular, but in this year of increased offense, especially in the DH American League, it's the second best ERA for a starter behind Juan Guzman of the Blue Jays. Struck him out. A run comes home, and after one, the National League leads it 1-0. John Smoltz lost his first decision of the year, then reeled off 14 straight victories, but comes into the All-Star game on a 3-game losing streak, and in those 3 starts, he's given up 19 runs, but he has very good stuff off the first inning tonight. And to start the second, he'll face Mo Vaughn of the Red Sox, who rips one over McGriff and down the line for extra bases. Chased into the corner by Bichette, who gets it back in as Vaughn trots in with a double. Well, Vaughn tuned up for this All-Star game in a game you broadcast, Joe, on Sunday night in Baltimore with 2 titanic home runs, and he wasted no time jumping on the first one here.
The last being a 9th inning game-winning home run. I mean, he just rips this ball past Freddie McGriff. It wasn't that the ball was over his head. The ball got past McGriff before he could jump up and down into the corner. Actually, a good play there by Bichette just to hold him to a double, although Mo Vaughn, of course, not known for his speed. But they call him the hit dog in Boston.
Maurice Samuel Vaughn.
I like Mo.
He don't like Maurice.
Ivan Rodriguez. At age 24, he's a 5-time All-Star, and his batting average has gone up. He's always been excellent defensively. His batting average has gone up every year. Top 300 for the first time last year, and as you see, he's at 313 now.
I was talking about him earlier, Bob. He's a great young talent. He really is. He hasn't put the numbers up yet that some of the great catchers in the game have, but this guy is really something.
Reaches for one, pops it into shallow right. Biggio back from second for the catch, and we go downstairs to the National League dugout. Jim Gray. Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Bob Costas. A very unique and rare opportunity to talk to manager Bobby Cox while he is managing. Bobby, let me ask you, are there a lot of signals and strategy that goes on in this game, or is it more of a sandlot game?
Well, it's not strictly not a sandlot game. We go over a lot of signs in our meeting yesterday. We went over, the squeeze, the hit and run, the bunt, the whole works. But, these guys are so talented, and they all such are great hitters. You don't employ too many things just to manufacture one run. But if we get late in the ball game, we may have to do that. Then, we'll do it. But this is unique. Normally we don't talk to the press during the ball game.
As we see Cal Ripken Jr. now up at bat, let me ask you, is it more important to win this game, or is it more important to get everybody into the game?
I told our players it's a combination. We want to win it, and this is one of the few, really, I think, professional all-star games that, where the players really go out there and battle their rear ends off and try to win, because it's just not that way anymore. In football and the NBA, it's just a little bit different. People understand that, but it's still very competitive in baseball, so we want to win it.
Now, the starters can stay in for 3 innings, and then you start making some changes. Which starters might we expect to see longer?
Well, John Smoltz is only going to go 2. We got Kevin Brown up now, and he's the 4th hitter next inning, and we'll probably pinch hit for sure. But this will be the last inning for John. We want to make sure we get most of the pitchers in. It's the only way we can do it. And Kevin's good for only 1 inning. He pitched last Saturday, and he can go the 1, and I'm anxious to see him.
All right, Bobby, we appreciate you taking the time with us. Let's go back upstairs to Bob Costas.
Thanks, Jim and Bobby. 3-0 pitch. Ripken a likely green light if he sees one he likes, but he takes a strike. Vaughn at second, 1 out, top of the second, 1-0 National League. If you're keeping track, the streak is at 22-39, and of course the All-Star game doesn't count toward it. Hit hard, left center field, but over his bonds. Vaughn plays it halfway, and there's the second out.
Uke, what was your longest streak?
Yellow, right down my back, buddy. Against a guy like SMOLTZ, anyway, I'll tell you that. Now here's that last ball hit by Ripken, a fastball. He didn't hit it all that well. He hit it off the end. It didn't sound good when he hit it. Little fly ball to left. Bonds had an easy play for the second out.
Indirectly, Bob, we see the difference between the American League and the National League. When the guy led off for a double with the National League, Barry Larkin hit the ball to the right side, moved him along where he could have scored on a ground ball. They did not do that with the American League All-Stars. They're more of a big bomb type team.
How big? A 30 home run guy hits 8th.
That's right. that's big.
He's on a pace to hit 58. Top 20 only once in his whole career prior to this season. Hit hard, McGriff behind the bag. His teammate SMOLTZ covers, and they're out of the second inning. After 1.5, it remains 1-0 National League. You can get online with the All-Star Game at www.nbc.com/sports. Who will be there? Why, Gary Carter answering your questions, providing some commentary from this point through the 7th inning. And after the game, live audio feeds, including all the post-game press conferences. Mike Piazza at 363, a rather comfortable lead in the National League batting race. The Rockies' Eric Young is second at 345. Very rare for someone who is a catcher to have a batting average anything like this. The highest full season batting average for a full-time catcher is 357 by the Hall of Famer Mickey Cochran for the 1930 A's. At the halfway point, Piazza is ahead of that. 1-1.
After his first few years in the major leagues, he has done more than any other catcher in the history of the game, and that includes the great players like Johnny Bench, Yogi Berra, all the great players. He has outdistanced them, all of them, his first couple of years in the game.
Had a home run in last year's All-Star contest off Kenny Rogers.
How many guys are fortunate enough to have Ted Williams come to your house when you're 12 years old?
Goodbye. Absolutely crushed. Well, Ted, if you're watching, whatever you told 12-year-old Mike Piazza, he listened very carefully.
Bobby has a very unusual swing in that he straightens up on his front leg much like a golfer. And he golfed this ball right out of here. This looked like a golf ball when he hit it.
I think the echo is still reverberating around the vet. Here's Bichette.
Now watch his front leg. I mean, he straightens right up after he swings. Now just watch his front leg. This is very unusual. Right there, just powerful.
And the instant he connected, you knew that one was not coming back.
Again, just watch his front leg. This is where he generates all the torque right there. Just a beautiful swing.
And it's 2-0 National League. Bichette rolls one slowly to Alomar, who throws him out. It's worth another look.
I tell you, you're right, Joe. You know, in one way, it almost looks like he's blocking himself when he does that. But boy, I'm telling you, that's Charles Nagy.
We said I didn't throw a cheap one anyway.
I'll tell you what, that would have won some of the home runs that were hit yesterday. That may have won something here. That was a tremendous shot.
Barry Bonds won the home run hitting contest yesterday in a Bay Area bash off with Mark McGwire of the A's. Chipper Jones, Alomar to his right, can't get it. And a 1-out single.
How about that ball McGuire hit yesterday, Bob, in that home run hitting contest? Tremendous blast by Mark McGuire to the upper deck here in left.
Calculated at 460 feet. Biggio to the plate, hitting an even 300. And a called strike.
And again, Bob, Chipper Jones proves he's not awed by the big stage. In last year's World Series, he had some great hits. Now in his first All-Star game, first at bat, he just singles to center field.
Nagy's 0-1 pitch to Biggio. Squib foul. As Bobby Cox said, he'd let John Smoltz pitch only 2 innings. The 9th spot is next, and Henry Rodriguez of the Expos is in the on-deck circle. And the count holds 0-2. You know, you look at Biggio. Here's a guy who started his career as a catcher. He's been a second baseman for several years. They preserved his speed by getting him out from behind the plate. Now, Piazza's a much different kind of player, but what you can hit as Piazza can, a lot of people wonder, will he play his whole career as a catcher?
You know, when you talk to Piazza about it, about that very subject, he said, I love catching. I want to catch. But you're right, down the road. And again, in talking about a league leading hitter, you know this guy can't run. So what he hits, he gets, he earns. But it's not a bad move. I mean, it's happened before where a guy ends up at first. Johnny Bench played third for you guys, Joe, at Cincinnati for a while, played at first, and took a lot of heat off of him.
Another 0-2 pitch. And another foul ball. Chuck Finley is up and throwing. He'll follow Nagy to the mound. The Angel left-hander. But you know, speaking of Johnny Bench, one of the greatest players of all time, but done by the time he was 34, 35 years old. And his quote was, a catcher's body is like an outlaw on his horse. He's got to ride that nag till it drops. But it dropped early for Johnny, as it can when you put on that equipment day in, day out. It's going to take a toll.
Well, I think too with Bench and in playing in Cincinnati and even here in Philadelphia. I mean, on this artificial surface, not only so much behind the plate, but running up and down. You're chasing runners. Every time a ground ball is hit, you're running to first behind the runner. You're always active. I think this stuff gets to you sooner or later.
Here's a bouncing ball toward Boggs. He looks at second, but his better choice is first, and he guns him out to Vaughn.
You know, I don't know if too many catchers, Joe, after years and years of squatting, your legs just tighten up. I mean, the upper portion of your legs tighten, the calves tighten. And I mean, you're a one-dimensional player for the most part. You're back there to catch and throw, and that's about it. But when you look at a guy like Ivan Rodriguez, who, as I said before, is an unbelievably fine catcher and a great thrower. He's got a great arm. I mean, whether this guy hits or not, you want him behind the plate.
So Rodriguez, a late addition after Tony Gwynn was scratched. 279 with 25 home runs. This is really his first season as a regular at age 28. He'd never hit more than 8 home runs in a season for the Dodgers or Expos prior to this. Tremendously popular in Montreal. They shower the field with those O. Henry bars when he connects. Vaughn dives and can't get it. Chipper Jones being waved home by Jimmy Williams. There's the 3rd National League run on a pinch hit RBI single from Henry Rodriguez.
Well, Rodriguez credits his great season to weightlifting, and he just rips this ball by Mo Vaughn. Vaughn breaks a little late, but no chance to get it. As you can see, that ball is well past him when he dives. So good hitting there by Rodriguez to drive in the run.
Two-out RBI hit. The inning began with a tremendous homer off Piazza's bat. Lance Johnson takes a ball. Unusual leadoff man. He has the speed that you hope for and plenty of it. The stolen bases, the triples, the high batting average at .322. He has only 15 walks, though. He's not up there to look.
It's a surprise to me, Bob, whenever you say he takes ball one. I mean, Lance Johnson walks up there to hit. He hit the first pitch of the game that he saw tonight, and he leads the league in triples. He does everything with the bat. He does not walk.
But somehow Nagy falls behind him 3-0.
You know, there was another guy that was such a great leadoff hitter too, Joe, and Paul Molitor in his younger days. I mean, if you got a guy like that in the top spot, he's got a chance to give you an instant 1-0 lead too, because he had some power. If you throw him a fastball to start him off, he'd jump on it.
Now he looks at Jimmy Williams. He was taking all the way on 3-0. He obviously has the hit sign here. Barry Larkin is on deck. And the count runs out full.
Can't believe that either.
Pitcher's spot due first in the top of the third. They'll hit for Nagy, so this is his last inning. There goes the runner on the 3-2 pitch with 2 out, and he'll have to come back. So this was a reprise of Game 3 of the World Series when Nagy and SMOLTZ opposed each other. Mike Hargrove's Indians won that one in extra innings. Maybe the most exciting game of the series as they got back into it after losing the first 2. Neither Nagy nor SMOLTZ involved in the decision that night. Alomar, a busy night so far. Flip to Vaughn. Johnson's gone, but 2 more for the National League. After 2, 3-0. New pitcher for the National League, Kevin Brown of the Marlins, formerly with Texas and most recently with the Orioles. Pitched a scoreless inning and won the 1992 game for the American League in San Diego. It's a crime to pitch this well, to strike out 79 and walk only 16, to have an ERA under 2 and get only 7 runs in the 7 losses and be just a .500 pitcher.
It is unbelievable. I mean, he has pitched so well this season, but the Marlins have trouble scoring whenever he's on the mound. They have trouble scoring quite often, but especially when he pitches. Good sinker, slider, but he has an overpowering sinker. It's a heavy sinker, but he has a good slider to go along with it and an occasional changeup.
Edgar Martinez, 2-time American League batting champion, probably his only at bat since he's really a DH. He'll hit for Nagy to start the third. Is he baseball's most underappreciated hitter? So many hitters putting up phenomenal numbers, but what this guy is doing deserves mention. He's on pace to break the all-time single-season record for doubles. Not just break it, but demolish it. At his present pace, with 42 at the break, he'd hit 80. The record is 67. And get this, with the extra base hits, he's got a chance to break Babe Ruth's mark for most extra base hits in a season, which is 119 dating back to the 20s.
He is a phenomenal hitter, and what he does best, Bob, is he waits on the pitch and he will drive it to right field. You pitch him inside, he will pull the ball. He finds the gaps. That's why he hits a lot of doubles.
2 balls and a strike.
I'm going to say, Bob, the one thing about a guy like Edgar is the fact that he's strictly a DH, and I think that's why he doesn't get a lot of credit. I mean, a guy that plays every day, plays defense, and hits too, gets a lot more of the credit. This guy sits there and takes his 4 whacks a night and should hit well. I mean, that's what people figure.
Larkin at shortstop. Throws him out, and we go back to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Bob Costas. I'm now joined by Frank Thomas, 85 RBIs on the year. However, Frank was a late scratch tonight. He hurt his right foot. Give us the prognosis. Will you be able to play once the season commences again on Thursday?
Well, who knows? It's up in the air right now. I'm not really a doctor, but the way it feels right now, I really don't know. I'm really concerned, but you know, hopefully I can get back in time and see what's really aggravating this thing, and hopefully I'm in the lineup on Thursday. But the way it stands right now, I don't think so.
Frank, how disappointing is it to miss the All-Star game? You played in them before, so does it kind of cushion it a little bit?
Oh, it's very disappointing right now. You know, the best in the game are here, and I would definitely want to be out there performing. It's the time to perform. It's time to shine, and I'm not able to perform, and it's really disappointing to be here, actually, when you're not playing.
As we take a look at Kenny Lofton at the plate, you're chasing the Cleveland Indians. Last year they ran away with it. What's been the difference this year? Why are you guys so much closer?
I really think the key acquisitions of the veterans that we have now. These guys have brought a new attitude to the clubhouse, and they've all done their part, and they've helped pick this team back up on its feet where it was a couple years ago. So, you know, we got a whole new style of ball with Terry Beverden as a manager, and we're having a lot of fun, and hopefully we're going to make something happen for the rest of the season.
All right, Frank, we hope you feel better. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, back upstairs to you, Bob Costas.
Thank you, Jim. So if Michael Jordan had stuck with baseball, he could have been, in theory, a teammate of Frank Thomas since he was in the White Sox organization. But this guy, Kenny Lofton, was a teammate of the Bulls' Steve Kerr. Lofton, the sixth man at the University of Arizona when they went to the Final Four in 1988 for Lute Olson, but decided to go the baseball route.
I think he made the wise choice.
Singled and stole a base his first time up. And the count holds at 2-2. We're in the top half of the third. The National League leads it 3-0.
Here's a guy, in difference to what we see in a Lance Johnson. Here's a guy who'll go up there and take a walk from you to reach and get on. He's got a little power. He's got 6 home runs. He'll pop one every once in a while.
Oh, I love this guy's game, Uke. 3-time Gold Glove winner. Tremendous arm. You look at him and he's kind of a wiry guy. You wouldn't think he throws as well as he does. And when you consider that he's got to cover a lot of ground at Jacobs Field with Ramirez on one side of him and Bell on the other, he's just a tremendous player.
He really is, and one of those guys that's a great leaper. You talked about his basketball ability. The other day he almost made another unbelievable catch going way over the wall in Cleveland, up on top of that center field wall.
The 3-2 pitch. Fouled it back. Here's something speed does for you, Joe. Even with a good pitcher like Brown, who's got the great sinker and the good wicked slider, if you're Kenny Lofton, given your speed and you're sitting 3-2, you can afford to think fastball.
Exactly, because he cannot afford to walk you here in this situation because he knows a walk is like a double.
Center field. Lance Johnson retreating to the track. Has it. And with this shot, we tell you, Anheuser-Busch's aerial ambassador joins us tonight, the Bud 1 airship, providing the beauty shots, as we call them, at Veterans Stadium. Now Wade Boggs, who popped out his first time. One and one. The last time there was a power explosion comparable to this in baseball back in 1987, Boggs changed his style a bit, hit 24 home runs. But this year that hasn't happened. He has only 2. And that's what he usually is looking to do. Slicing this one foul, though, but to take that pitch to the opposite field with that inside out swing.
You're right, that's his style, but he made a point in '87 to show people that he could hit with power if he wanted to. Now watch how level his bat stays through the hitting zone. See that? That's a beautiful level swing. No uppercut there.
Lays off the high fastball. 2-2.
You know, you're almost doing this guy a favor every time you throw him away. You really do him a favor. I mean, he's going to go the other way on you. And as Joe said, every once in a while, I mean, if he gets something inside off speed, he'll try to hook you.
Chopper Larkin has time and has Boggs. Brown comes in, works a 1-2-3 third. Still 3-0 National League. We have a mic on Bobby Cox, and we'll listen to his reaction as Wade Boggs slices this one foul on a pitch from Kevin Brown.
Damn, Boggsy can't get around a fastball or a changeup.
Said in jest, of course.
Of course. Too bad Boggs doesn't have an earpiece.
Larkin takes a strike from the new American League pitcher Chuck Finley, the 33-year-old Angel veteran who's 9-7. Big curveball, and his out pitch, the forkball. Because of the forkball, He leads the American League with 11 wild pitches. He's got that baby diving into the dirt.
Forkball or the splitter. I mean, if it gets away from you and it's one of those bouncers 2 feet in front of the plate, I mean, it eats you up. You know, when you look at the California Angels this year and where they are in the standings here at the break, disappointment to a lot of people.
Bounced up the middle, and it's through. A leadoff hit for Larkin. When you look at Finley, one of the game's better pitchers, a 9-7 record and an ERA of almost 5, 4.95. If you haven't been following the game all season long, you might say, what's going on? The overall league ERA in the American League is 5.10. If that holds, it's the highest league ERA in either league in this century. That's how much offense there is all around baseball, especially in the American League, with more small ballparks and, of course, the DH. And a different approach, less emphasis on speed, more on power.
That's the surprising thing about hitting today, Bob. Not only the long ball, everybody's talking about the long ball, the amount of home runs that are being hit. How about the batting averages of not only the big guys, the power hitters, but everybody? You're looking at guys hitting 35 and 40 home runs, hitting 340, 350. That's the thing. I mean, it's pitching overall. I mean, every once in a while, once out of maybe every 3-4 days, you're going to see somebody who you're going to have a tough time against. But those other 3 days, as Joe well knows, those are the guys you got to get well against.
2-0 pitch to Bonds, and Vaughn can't get this. He deflects it a bit. Larkin speeds around second, and they'll have runners at the corners on a pair of singles with nobody out to open the third. So the onslaught continues for the National League, already leading it 3-0.
And Bob, in all 3 innings, the leadoff hitter has gotten on base for the National League. Now this is Barry Bonds at his best and Barry Larkin at his best. Base hit to right field off the glove of Mo Vaughn. Now Barry Larkin, a lot of guys would not be able to go to third on this, but he makes up his mind right there. He said, I'm going to third base, takes one look, and he's on his way to third base. And this is what the National League does best, first and third on base hits.
Finley to McGriff, and there's a strike. Talking about all those numbers, those offensive numbers, you taking nothing away from the many great hitters in the game today. Something is out of whack. The game has been wrenched from its context. The circumstances in baseball today, and that's high, are making average hitters good, good hitters great, and great hitters historic.
Well, Bob, you have to remember, every time you hit a long fly ball, if it hits off the wall and doesn't go out of the ballpark, it's still a base hit, whereas in the past those fly balls were caught, they were outs. So anything you hit now long becomes a base hit as well as extra bases. So it helps your batting average.
2-1 to McGriff. Piazza on deck.
I think it's still the fact that out of a 4-game series, maybe a 3-game series, you may see one guy, and depending on the staff, 2 guys maybe, but that 3rd guy that you see on that 3rd day or 4th day, those are the guys that the good hitters really get well against.
McGriff chases one outside the strike zone. It's 2-2, unless of course you're facing Freddie's team, the Braves, so deep.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Bob. You know, there are those clubs that do have staffs that are pretty decent, and not to take a rip at any pitcher, but either you're a good starter, a very good starter, or you're one of those guys that's a mediocre starter. You know, you're going to be a 500 pitcher, and there's a lot of those around.
The runner breaks from first, and McGriff grounds it foul at the plate. So Bonds has to come back.
Doesn't necessarily make you a bad pitcher either. You have some pitchers, Joe, on some clubs that, you know, if a club is not a great hitting club, you're going to suffer as a pitcher. And here's an example in Finley that we talked about. A guy who's not having that great a year, but look at the offensive numbers from the whole California ball club. They're down.
McGriff struck out his first time. Finley a quick throw to first and Bonds back. Well, there's the obvious dilution of pitching because of expansion. The smaller strike zone, the smaller ballparks. The batters beefing up with the weight training and swinging thin-handled bats with the tops cupped out, so the amount of energy through the hitting zone that these big strong guys can generate with these lighter bats, with all of the mass of the bat pretty much concentrated in the sweet part of the stick, those are all factors. Bonds goes again. Called strike 3. Throw from Rodriguez. Rodriguez. He got him. He has thrown out almost half of those who have tried to steal against him, and this was the best possible scenario for the American League. McGriff fans for the second time. Bonds is cut down, and Larkin holds third.
Not a good play, in my opinion, for Barry to try to steal with Rodriguez behind the plate and the left-hander on the mound, because what you do is you take your team out of a possibility of a big inning. Even if McGriff was to strike out, you would still have Piazza up there hitting now with 1 down and runners at first and third rather than 2 down and a runner at third. This is a tough pitch to throw on, but you see why Rodriguez is one of the best throwers in baseball. Gets rid of the ball very quickly, even on a pitch low and in to the left-hander.
I tell you, he's got a great arm. He really does. I mean, he loves to throw.
A ball to Piazza. You know, we kid you a lot, Youth, but one thing you could really do was throw. You were a fine throwing catcher, and I know you like to watch Rodriguez.
I really do, and I was going to say to Joe, who played with Bench so many years, who was a great thrower too, how many times you see a catcher take you out of a jam? Actually, as a catcher, you hope guys run.
Here's another RBI for Piazza. This one gets in the gap and scoots to the wall. Larkin comes across. A double to go with the homer. 4-0 National League.
And no one hits the ball harder than Mike Piazza. I remember the first time Tommy Lasorda brought him, he came to the big leagues, he told me one day, he said, Joe, this guy hits the ball harder than anybody on the ball club. And you see here, this is a routine single for a lot of hitters. But again, look how he just straightens up on that front leg, and it hits the ball so hard, it goes right through to the outfield wall. This is a normal single, but he hits it so hard that even Kenny Lofton cannot cut it off.
So it's Bichette. Not the same hitter away from Coors Field. He is the poster boy for that ballpark. He's hitting over 400 at home, 263 on the road, 12 of his 17 homers at Coors Field, where the Rockies average better than 8 runs a game and on the road less than 4 runs a game.
Here's a pretty good reason, if we can show this again, a pretty good reason why catchers today wear a helmet. Watch this and listen. I heard it. Watch the backswing. Pow. Ooh, I'm telling you, he got hit good. Now you're wearing a soft cap, that may put you down, I guarantee it. Although I didn't mind that once in a while. I got to be honest with you.
Has him out in front again. 1-2. Let's watch it one more time.
I heard this pop on the top of the helmet. Listen to this.
Didn't even phase him.
You got to be a dog to be a catcher.
Well, they don't call them the tools of ignorance for nothing.
I'll tell Pudge you said that. He loves you.
But you know, the pay for all that misery is so much better than it was in your day.
Oh yeah, you're right. But I mean, we were dumb back then. We didn't want to wear helmets. I mean, how dumb were we? Didn't want to wear the extension on the mask, you know, that down below to cover your chin and protect you down there. Here's a guy, Rodriguez, too, one of the few guys that wears that protective pad over the right shoulder. There you see him. He's right in there. Benched 10 times. What a player. Bob Boone, who's here tonight as a coach.
Full count to Bichette. Well, we've seen each catcher at his best. Rodriguez is a fine hitter, but defense is really his strong point. He throws Bonds out trying to steal. Piazza, a great hitting catcher, launches a tremendous home run and then doubles home run with a shot into the right center field gap. The 3-2 pitch struck him out. But the National Leaguers have scored in every inning. They lead 4-0. Back after this from your local station. Darkness has descended upon Philadelphia, and dark days as well for the Phillies. The last time they hosted the All-Star game back in '76, they were at the beginning of a run of 3 straight NL East championships and 4 in 5 years, capped by the World Championship in 1980. Had several players on the All-Star team. This year with injuries they're struggling, and Ricky Bottalico, the reliever, is their only representative. Perennial All-Stars like Dykstra and Dalton not only out for the year but with their careers in jeopardy. The new pitcher is a familiar one, World Series hero Tom Glavine, and a new first baseman too. Alomar, the switch hitter, bats right-handed against Glavine. Bagwell of the Astros replaces McGriff of the Braves at first base, and Freddie's troubles continue. 2 strikeouts tonight. Alomar reaches for it, rolls it to Chipper Jones. It comes up on a nice hop, and he throws him out.
Alomar continues to struggle, Bob. His average has dropped from 410, a high of 410, down into the 350s. But I guess that's happiness to be able to go over and still be hitting 350.
Bell struck out against SMOLTZ his first time up. So he comes to the All-Star game, and the first two guys he has to look at are nightmare reminders of last October. SMOLTZ and especially Glavine, who combined with Wohlers on the one hitter to end it in Game 6.
And Glavine immediately starts to pitch him away, as he did last year in the World Series. Try to stay right on the outside corner, try to get ahead, and then throw a few changeups.
The 2-0 is in there. Of course, Albert in Game 5 went outside with the pitch and took Maddox deep to the opposite field.
I'm just going to say, Bob, you keep throwing him away. I mean, if it's something close off the outside corner, he'll make up his mind and go that way. He's got tremendous power all over.
3-1. When you talk about the pursuit of Roger Maris, whether it's Bell or a healthy Griffey, Brady Anderson, Mark McGwire, whomever it may be, of course, we never know what might have happened had 1994 been played to completion. Full count. But this much can be said. Maris's record has now stood a year longer than Ruth's did. They sort of put Maris down because he did it in the first expansion year, but there have been 4 expansions since, and no one's even come close. The highest since Maris is 52. Fouled off. In truth, Ruth's record was challenged more often than Maris's. Greenberg hit 58, so did Fox. Wilson hit 56, Hack Wilson. Kiner made a run, Mantle made a run. No one really has gotten into September truly flirting with Maris's mark. Struck him out, so Albert has gone down twice. And that delights fans everywhere outside Cleveland, it seems.
Now here it is, a last fastball from Glavine to Bell that finished him up. And I'm surprised he took a couple of fastballs. Not so much the 3-0 pitch, but he took a 3-1 fastball. And then here's Glavine again around the outside corner with a little Taylor and strikes him out.
Mo Vaughn had a ringing double into the right field corner his first time up against SMOLTZ. Since Vaughn's double, 8 straight American leaguers have been retired.
You know, you almost look at a guy like Glavine here, Joe, and he says to you as a hitter, until you show me you can hit it, I'm going to keep throwing it to you.
Yeah, but he changes speeds. One fastball's 89, next one's 85. And all 3 of these pitches have been fastballs to Vaughn, as we see Ricky Bottalico warming up in the bullpen, but they've all been 3 different speeds.
2 out, nobody on, 1-2 pitch. And it holds there. It's hard to imagine a better pitched game under pressure than the one Glavine turned in Game 6 of the World Series. They had been up 3-1. The Indians had an emotional victory at home to send it back to Atlanta. The Game 7 matchup would have been Nagy against SMOLTZ, and the SMOLTZ of last year was not the SMOLTZ of this half season. Biggio to Bagwell. A couple of Astros combined to take care of Vaughn, and it's another quick inning for the American League. Finley back to work. Chipper Jones, switch hitter, turns around, bats right-handed, swings on the first one, hammers it to left, but Bell is right there for the catch. Tom Glavine worked a perfect 4th for the National League. Who's going to follow him to the mound? We'll let Bobby Cox tell you.
Bring your boy in next inning, Jimmy. Bottalico. Yes, sir.
So there's the Phillies' lone representative. He'll get a great reception. His manager, Jim Fregosi. one of Bobby Cox's coaches tonight. And you also saw Johnny Padres, who's the National League's honorary captain. Earl Weaver, the honorary captain, new Hall of Famer, great Oriole manager. He's the honorary captain for the American League. There's Padres. And this one is lifted by Biggio into the seats. When they brought Bagwell into the game along with Glavine, they hit Bagwell ninth, so he's next, and Glavine is in the fourth slot, vacated by McGriff. Still 0-2. Struck him out, and we go to Jim Gray once more.
All right, thank you, Bob. I'm now here with Vince Piazza, the very proud father of Mike Piazza. He has had these seats here in Veterans Stadium since it opened. Used to bring Mike all the time. Was Mike basically drafted number 1390 as a favor to you by Tommy Lasorda?
That's correct. Yes. It's hard to believe that he had going that high in the draft. Or I should say that low in the draft. Yeah.
How proud are you right now? Your son is homered. He has a double right now. He could be the MVP of this game.
It's amazing. It's something that's hard to explain. I sit here in the last 4 years, watch what has happened and how he's developed, and I still can't accept it. It's just like a dream. I'm just thinking someday somebody's going to wake me up here shortly.
Now you're very close with Tommy Lasorda. You spoke with Tommy today. He's got to be feeling better watching this.
I was thinking that maybe this would be a heck of a remedy for him. Hopefully he'll recover soon and get back to what he was doing, because we all love him.
Thank you, Vince. There are about 30 Piazzas who are here. This entire section is family. Back upstairs to you, Bob.
And Bagwell swings and misses as we take it back from Jim Gray. What an interesting guy to watch hit.
Yes, he is. He's had his left hand broken a couple of times. You see that pad over his left hand. That's to protect him, because he takes a lot of fastballs inside. They pitch him in, and he dives in, and he's been hit on that left hand a lot of times. Look at that. I would think that would bother him, but he says it feels very comfortable now, and he's used to it. But I mean, he has a great swing. He stays on the ball, and he drives the ball to all fields.
Stance slightly open, very wide spread, uppercut swing.
He does all those things, Bob, but he still hits very well, and he's a good RBI man. Watch his front foot on this next pitch. He actually brings it back. Most people stride forward. He strides backwards to get his body going, to get his bat started. He is very unique, and again, he and Mike Piazza, very different from all the other hitters in this ball game. He will take that front foot and step back and not forward.
And he fouls another Finley offering away. He is always, for the last 3 years, among the league leaders in 7 or 8 categories. And this despite hitting in the Astrodome, which is a little more hitter friendly than it used to be, but it's certainly no Coors Field.
Right, you're right.
There's what you were talking about right there, Joe. You see that front foot fly back. He's the only guy that I know that does that.
Well, Finley records a couple of strikeouts in the 4th, and this is the first inning in which the National League has been blank. They lead it 4-0. On to the 5th inning at the Vet. The National League leading 4-0. And the ball handed to the Phillies representative, Ricky Vitalico. 2-4, but with 20 saves, as you see, and that's 3rd best in the National League.
Bobby throws hard and has a great curveball.
Warm reception for him on a warm night in Philadelphia. New 3rd baseman, too. Ken Caminiti added to the team when Matt Williams, the elected starter, was scratched because of an injury. He's in now at 3rd from the Padres. When Tony Gwynn got hurt, the Padres didn't have an active player on the squad, and it would have remained that way had Williams not been scratched. Rodriguez cuts and misses. 0-2.
This guy was one of the most excited guys in this ballpark yesterday. Vitalico in the clubhouse, watching him, Joe, walk around and look at all the other players and talk and meet some of these other guys, not only national but American leaguers too. Rodriguez, another guy, Alex Rodriguez, the kid shortstop from Seattle, in total awe here with this all-star gala weekend and everything else that went into this thing. Weekend prior to it, 3-day break, everybody excited here.
Metallico's 1-2 pitch. Struck him out. Auspicious debut.
Well, Joe said he had a good breaking ball, and that's what I think it was on Rodriguez. Got an excellent curveball. He popped a couple of good fastballs on him, and here's the last pitch. Breaking ball down low and away, and he chased it.
You can see the very tight spin on that breaking ball. That makes it very tough for the hitter to pick it out.
So now Ripken, who lined to left his first time up. You know, it seems odd to say of Ripken, who represents reliability and consistency, but as a hitter, he's very streaky.
Yes.
He had a great June, but he goes through protracted slumps and then turns it up.
But I feel like, Bob, that no matter what you say about it, the streak doesn't affect him. As a middle infielder, if you play as many games as he does, there are going to be spells where you're down mentally and then you get back up. Then you're down physically and then you get back up.
Doesn't catch up with a 2-0 pitch.
He made a dramatic change in his hitting style too, Bob. I mean, he used to have that bat way up on top. Now you see where it is. It's almost resting on his shoulder. He's dropped his hands. Anything upstairs, I mean, he's going to have to bring it back up and then start that way. But he used to carry that bat way up on top.
2-2.
And there you see another example of not being able to pick up the spin on Metallico's ball. This looked like another fastball, and it just breaks sharply down and away, and you see Ripken cannot hold up. And Metallico just, look at that. That's tighter spin than the one he struck Rodriguez out with.
Misses with that one, full count to Ripken, the two-time American League MVP, the 1991 All-Star MVP when the game was played in Toronto. Metallico fanned Rodriguez. And Ripken lifts this one to left. Barry Bonds over toward the line and calling. There's the second out. As Brady Anderson steps in with the 30 home runs, to finish up a thought from earlier, Joe, all the factors cited for the explosion in offense, but one that I think is overlooked is this. You've gone from 4-man to 5-man rotations. So right there you can make a case that the pitching has to be 20% worse.
Correct.
Plus, starters used to pitch, even average starters, double-digit complete games. Hit to third, Caminiti knocks it down and then has no play as Anderson is aboard with 2 out. The Bob Gibsons, the Koufaxes, the Marichals, the Spahns, they were between 20 and 30 complete games every year.
Now here it is again, that little slicing bouncer hit by Anderson kind of handcuffed Caminiti, a ball that he should have made the play on. If he picks it up there, he has no chance. Anderson's got good speed.
Now Jay Buhner will come to the plate as a pinch hitter. 23 home runs for him and an average of 285. Hit 40 a year ago. So in addition to fewer complete games and a 5-man rotation, the closer now will only pitch the 9th inning with a lead. You figure out how many innings are being pitched by inferior pitchers when the average start lasts 5.8 innings in 1996. Who's pitching the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning? Unless you got a Mariano Rivera, you've got a guy out there that these hitters are feasting on.
But you mentioned Mariano Rivera. He's the exception to the rule. The rest of the guys are more mop-up men than anything else.
And when they bring that guy in New York, Rivera, I mean, he's a very hard thrower, and then you've got Wetland to follow him, who doesn't throw the ball all that badly either, with a good breaking pitch to go with it. I mean, that's a great 1-2 punch. When they had Righetti and Ron Davis there, Bob, it's similar to that situation. Yeah, Davis is a setup man.
Anderson is running. Buhner lines it to center, but Johnson with the speed gets there for the catch. At first, he didn't apparently realize how many outs there were. That ends it, Lance. Job well done. We'll be right back. It rained about an hour before the game. The tarp was on the field. Not a drop has fallen since game time. Jay Buhner, who pinch hit and lined to center, stays in the game, occupying the 9th spot in the order, and in right field now with Brady Anderson out for the American League, and Roger Pavlik is the new pitcher. Lance Johnson facing him, fouls the first pitch off. Pavlik of the Rangers is 11-2 with an ERA of 4.82. He leads the majors with 6 complete games. That'll also make the seats. Bottom of the 5th. 4-0 National League. Top of the order for them. Johnson, Larkin, Bonds. One and two.
Getting back to what you were talking about a moment ago, Bob and Joe, I don't know where this quality start idea came from, but as you were talking about,
hit to right center field. They better cut it off with Johnson running, and Buhner does. So Johnson's now 2 for 3, a leadoff single here, and we check again with Jim Gray.
Okay, thank you, Bob. I'm now joined by the starting pitcher, John Smoltz. John went a couple of innings tonight. 1989, you got the loss. Now you have a chance to win this ball game. You were 14-1. Now you've lost 3 games in a row. Did you correct it tonight, and was there something wrong?
Yeah, actually, my last side session, I was throwing more stiff-wristed, and I'm a loose type pitcher with my fastball. It tends to give a little bit of hop to it, and I corrected it, and it would have been nice to go a little bit more in 2 innings, but I'll take it, and hopefully we can hang on.
Barry Larkin at the plate. Let me ask you this, as we have a stolen base out there right now by Johnson. Let me ask you, John, would you have liked to have gone longer, and could you have worked some more kinks out?
Yeah, that's the big thing. You know, you can work things out on the side, and even in my last game, I would have loved to have gone more innings just to work things out in a game situation. And the first 2 innings, I didn't like the way I started with giving up a single and a double, but after that, it was great.
Now, Greg Maddux pitched today with you in practice. You said he had some problems. Is there going to be a problem with him, and might he not be able to get back into the starting rotation with his injured toe?
No, it's just a little sore dragging, and the more he does it, the more he works, the more sore it's going to be, so he'll be fine next start.
John, congratulations. Great outing.
All right, thanks a lot.
Let's go back upstairs to Bob.
Jim, thanks. Larkin flying out to Buhner in right. Johnson holding second after the steal, and Bob Uecker to finish his thought.
Well, I was talking about quality starts. I don't know who came up with the idea of 6 innings being a quality start, because years ago, I mean, that was what your contract, I should say, was predicated on the next year. I mean, that was a big item. How many games you finished, how many innings you pitched. Those guys like the Perrys and Gibsons and Maloney's, Joe, that pitched the 250, 260 innings every year, man, it was unbelievable. But today, 6 innings and it's bullpen time.
Bonds at the plate. Caminiti on deck, and Johnson breaks for third on the first pitch. Rodriguez's throw, he is gone. Man, with a left-handed batter at the plate and Rodriguez throwing, I don't care how fast you are, you better think twice about that.
Well, I think they've made 2 poor base running choices here. You mentioned he's got a clear shot at him because Barry Bonds is left-handed. I mean, he's out by a long ways here. I mean, normally it's a close play at second or third, but he got a pretty good jump, but Rodriguez just comes up and fires a bullet down there, and it's there just right now, so you have no chance.
It's been a great showcase so far for Rodriguez and Piazza.
I'll tell you, this guy can throw as good as anybody I've seen, and right on the bag. I mean, sometimes a play like that and a throw like that handcuffs an infielder. Boggs made a nice play to grab it.
I have to say that he really reminds me of Johnny Bench. Johnny Bench had a great throwing arm, and he got rid of the ball very quickly, and Rodriguez does the same.
Joe, how many times did you go to cover a bag at second and get handcuffed on a low throw?
A lot of times.
I mean, not a throw in the dirt. I mean, just a throw right on the bag would handcuff you.
3 balls and a strike to Bonds, and another look.
Watch how quickly he gets rid of the ball. See, he does not take an extra step. He just straightens up and fires.
Full count now. Bonds has an RBI ground out and a single. Came into the game hitting .301. He was sizzling in April, had 11 home runs in the season's first month. He's at 23 at the All-Star break. Three-time MVP in a 4-season stretch in the early 90s. Vaughn behind the bag will take it himself. After 5 now, it remains 4-0 National League. 15th and final All-Star appearance for the 13-time Gold Glove winner Ozzie Smith. At age 41, he has finally had to surrender to time. This is his last season. He's announced his retirement, and we talked to him about it yesterday.
Well, you know, you always have that feeling of not wanting to hang it up when you've done it this long. But we all reached that point, and I think that you have to get it squared away in your heart first. And I've been able to do that. It wasn't easy, you know, because it's been a gradual thing that's happened over the last 4 or 5 years. But I've been able to come to grips with that within my heart, and I know that this is the right time.
So Ozzie's in the game at short. Larkin's out. There's a new left fielder. It's Ellis Burks from the Rockies, the former Red Sox. Barry Bonds is out. And a new pitcher, Pedro Martinez from the Expos.
And Martinez has a very good fastball. He moves it around very well, and an excellent changeup. And he's the brother of Ramon Martinez of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
With 3 changes, Bobby Cox can put these new players almost anywhere. So if you're scoring at home, stop and just enjoy the game. Because at this point, our own scorecards look like some sort of hieroglyphics.
Mine's gone.
Here's Lofton against Martinez. Singled, stole a base, fly to deep center. We're in the 6th, 4-0 National League. Another base hit for Lofton. Well, you can tell this guy loves the stage, Uke.
He really does, and he's a big-time player. I mean, when it happens, when he's on, he's on. And as we were talking earlier in the game, tagging up in situations where normally you don't tag up and try to advance another base, he does it. But he's got the blinding speed. He's got power every once in a while, but as you said, he's a primetime guy. He loves it.
They're losing
about it. He'll tell you.
They're losing 4-0, but it wouldn't surprise me to see him run.
Oh yeah, I'm you know, and I'm for it. In a game like this, it's an all-star game. I know the Nationals want to beat the Americans. It's a big deal. The National League's won twice in a row now. But with a guy like Lofton and the way Piazza's been throwing, wouldn't bother me to see him run.
And besides, it's only the 6th inning. It's not like we're going down the stretch. They have plenty of time. You pick up one here, one there, and you can get yourself back in the ball game. You do not have to always wait for the big inning when you're trailing 4-0.
A ball and a strike to Boggs, who's 0 for 2. There he goes, and the pitch is hit in the air to left. An immediate chance for Ellis Burks, who makes the catch, and Lofton retreats. This guy Pedro Martinez has tremendous stuff. When you talk about a guy with no-hit stuff, you're speaking literally in his case. He pitched the near-perfect game, actually 9 perfect innings against San Diego. Won the game 1-0, but Bip Roberts got a base hit in the bottom of the 10th, and they took him out of the game. But he can be overpowering. He's a strikeout and inning guy.
Well, and he also is an intimidator, Bob. He will come up and in, he will pitch you inside, and he will change speeds. But I think that's great. I mean, I think he's one of the quality pitchers in all of the major leagues.
That's probably the only thing you won't see in an all-star game is the up and in pitch. I mean, where somebody is really going to move somebody off the plate with something tight under the chin. Very seldom does it happen. I think more often than not, it's a mistake in a game like this. But if you're talking about regular season play, he and a lot of other pitchers are not embarrassed at all to come high and tight on you, move you back anytime.
Facing Robbie Alomar, who's 0 for 2, as Lofton edges away. On the 1-0 pitch, he takes off, and a check swing foul. He had a terrific break again, I thought.
He did. He had second base stolen. Alomar trying to get out of there with a check swing foul, and Lofton's back. Here it is again. Watch Lofton's jump. He's about a foot out on the carpet. And I mean, 2 steps into his stride, he's at full speed, pulls up on the foul tip. You see Ozzie Smith telling Lofton to stay up.
Not going. And a called strike on the inside corner. 1-2. Joe, you played in 10 All-Star games. Anybody ever brush your back?
I can't remember anyone doing it. I thought Vida Blue was going to do it once, but he decided not to. But no, I can't remember seeing that too often.
There he goes on 1-2. Good pitch to throw on for Piazza. Close, but he steals it.
Well, he got a good jump on Martinez. Martinez has a big leg kick. See how high he lifts his front leg? That gives the base stealer plenty of time to run. Lofton actually slows down because he knows he has it. And really, not a bad throw there by Piazza, but no chance. You see, he knows right away he's got it because he got a great jump.
And they nearly pick him off.
And that's a patented Ozzie Smith play. Ozzie Smith, you steal second base. He kind of starts to talk to you and walks over towards you, and then he tries to pick you off. And that's exactly what he did. I was watching him talk to Lofton, and then he tries to pick him off. He tries to block him off the bag, as you can see there. But that's what Ozzie Smith does quite often.
2-2 pitch. Chopper. Ozzie in between hop. Quick throw. Safe. Alomar beat it.
That is not the Ozzie Smith of old. Ozzie Smith of old would have charged that ball, even though it was going to be a difficult play. Now see, he waits on it. Ozzie Smith does not have the arm that you can stay back and wait on a ball, and you can see the hustle of Roberto Alomar beats it out. Ozzie Smith normally comes and gets that ball on the short hop, but when he waits, he loses Alomar at first base.
No one has ever played shortstop regularly in the major leagues past the age of 40. Ozzie is 41. And he'll be in Cooperstown in 5 or 6 years. Albert Belle with the American League now having a chance to get back into it with one swing. First and third, one out, top of the 6th. They trail 4-0.
And one more, that no one has ever played it as long as Ozzie or as well as Ozzie.
Is he the best you ever saw?
The best.
In there, 1-1.
This is an unusual Albert Belle we're seeing tonight, Bob. He is usually an aggressive hitter, an aggressive person. But tonight I see him taking a lot of pitches. He took a couple of 2-0 and 3-1 pitches from Glavine and struck out. I see him take a fastball here from Martinez. He is normally up there to swing the bat.
That's another one go by, 2-1.
Say, if you're taking breaking balls, it's a different story. But when you're ahead in the count and guys are throwing fastballs to you and they're right down the pipe, I mean, really in a great hitting zone for you, and you're taking, it's not really Albert Belle. You're right, Joe. I mean, he really is aggressive.
Check swing foul. You know, not to belabor it, we'll drop it after this. It is a shame about Albert Belle. He is a great hitter. He has a chance to have not just an all-star career, but an historic career. He is smart, he is driven, he is dedicated. And those who care about him, instead of being apologists or offering tortured defenses, should be urging him to get help for his obvious problems so it isn't a blight on his career. Can't catch up with the high heat and goes down swinging.
That's just what it was for Martinez, a fastball upstairs out of the strike zone. And I mean, you got to be awfully quick up there.
He got the hat trick, Joe. That's his 3rd strikeout.
And this is Martinez at his best. When he gets ahead of you, he will get you to chase the fastball up and out of the strike zone, or the changeup out of the strike zone.
So now Vaughn. Bell striking out for the 3rd time and leaving 2 men stranded. And you begin to wonder if for the first time the outside pressures are getting to it. The runner breaks from first. Vaughn taps it toward the middle. Ozzie over on the second base side of the bag to throw him out. So they leave 2 and they can't break through after 5.5. Still 4-0.
Welcome back to Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. I'm Jim Gray. I'm now joined by the American League manager and Indian skipper Mike Hargrove. Mike, you're down 4-0 now. What magic do you have? How are you going to pull this one out?
We're going to punt. I think that's what we're planning on doing. We just keep going at them. We had our chances last inning. Really the best chance we had Bell and Movon at the plate with 2 men on. Didn't get the job done. What really hurt us early in the ball game, Lofton got a base hit, stole second. We didn't get him over, didn't get him in. And then the next inning we had a leadoff double by Movon and didn't do the same thing, and it cost us. And we're down by 4 now. So we just keep coming at him. We've got some guys that can swing the bat. We need to start doing that.
Caminiti at the plate. Let me ask you. We asked Bobby Cox, was it more important to get everybody in the game or to win? He said to get everybody in the game. Your thoughts on that?
No, I think that's I think everybody comes here to see the All-Stars. I don't want to say the game is secondary, because it's not, and we're playing to win just like Bobby's playing to win. But we want to get the guys in the game. They deserve to be in the game. They're all having good years, and they deserve the recognition, and they deserve the pleasure of being able to get in there and swing the bat or make a play.
Do you get nervous during this game, or is this truly a vacation kind of game? As Caminiti just tagged one, and that ball is out of here. And with that, we'll go back to Bob Costas, because all of a sudden now we have a 5-0 lead. Bob.
Jimmy, stay right there. Ask Mike Hargrove if that made him nervous.
Yes.
Now Jim is acting as the interpreter.
I was asking you if you were nervous during this whole thing. Caminiti hits a home run. Does this game make you nervous, or is it truly a vacation kind of game?
Well, I think any time that you get into competition, especially one that's got the national spotlight, you get a little nervous. I think you should get nervous. If you don't, then you're brain dead. You need to do something else. So, yeah, you get a little nervous. But once you get into the game, you get into the flow of things, you settle down and do your job, and it becomes a lot of fun.
You can't get as aggravated with a reporter asking you questions when a guy hits a home run, can you?
No, not now.
Thanks, Mike. Back to you, Bob Costas.
So Ken Caminiti, the switch-hitting veteran, a late addition to the All-Star roster. In his first at-bat in this game, wallops one out of here. The guy at the plate now, Piazza, connected earlier, and it's 5-0. Roger Pavlik, the victim on that one. Isn't that interesting? No player. Think of all the great ones through the years. 60-plus years of the All-Star game. None of them ever had 3 extra base hits in a game. Piazza has a homer and a double. This is his 3rd at-bat.
In a way, it's hard to understand, Bob, but on the other side, you've got guys who only play maybe 3-4 innings, maybe don't get enough ABs to really take a whack at it, with the exception of maybe a catcher. You see the catchers, I think, probably more often than not, are the guys that hang around longer than another player, another position player.
Caminiti with Smith and SMOLTZ. SMOLTZ stands to be the winner. National League up 5-0. The Padres started the year on fire. Then they hit an awful slump, and now they're inching back. Still 1-2 to Piazza. And let's look back at the ball Caminiti tag.
Well, Ken Caminiti is very strong, and you can see here he gets the barrel out. I mean, he knows right away that ball is gone. It's an upper deck shot.
And Piazza goes down swinging. First time he's been retired tonight. If you're Caminiti, you couldn't ask for the ball in a better spot.
Exactly. Fastball, middle of the plate in, and he turned on it. And then Pavlik comes back with a changeup to retire Piazza.
Hey, wait a minute, Uke. They just brought the Philly pretzels into the booth. If the cheesesteak comes next, it's a great night no matter how the game turns out.
They got the hoagies here. They got it all here. This is heaven up here.
You got to have the hot mustard, though, to put on the pretzels.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Or spoil mustard's the same.
Bichette's 0 for 2. You played here, didn't you? You had half of your lifetime 14 home runs in 1966 for the Phillies.
Yeah. Everyone a game winner. And again, I had a tough time getting in here, as a matter of fact. I'm telling you, man, some people just don't forget.
You know, I thought it was really a nice touch on the part of the Phillies to let you, for old time's sake, go down and litter the bullpen with pass balls before the game.
That felt good. It really did. Putting on the Philly Fanatic uniform again. I love that guy.
1-2 to Bichette. New right side of the infield for the American League, which we'll get to in a minute. Like right now, Knobloch, the major league's leading hitter, Chuck Knobloch of the Twins, who's hitting .370, replaces Robbie Alomar at second base. And Mark McGwire, with 28 home runs after missing the first month of the season, is at first base, and Mo Vaughn is out. The 1-2 pitch.
The only thing I was going to say, Bob, I never played in this ballpark. I was at Old Connie Mack Stadium. I know Joe played games at Old Connie Mack over on 22nd and Lehigh here in Philadelphia. Great old ballpark, Shibe Park, Connie Mack Stadium, and then later on they moved out here to Veterans Stadium. Matter of fact, they're talking about building a new ballpark here in Philadelphia too, just for baseball.
Bichette goes the opposite way. Chasing it is Buhner. He can't get there. One bounce against the wall, and Bichette heading for second and in with a double. So after Bichette doubles, another Rocky, Ellis Burks, steps in.
That's what I was talking about earlier in the telecast, Bob, about big guys that hit home runs and also hit for high averages. There's been those years, Joe, when you see a big guy, I mean a guy who's going to hit you deep, try to pull a ball like that. That's the difference in today's hitters. I think the emphasis on the big guys also trying to hit the ball the opposite way, going to the gap the other way, going to the line the other way, or going deep for that matter.
Well, you're right. That was a perfect pitch, low and away, and Bichette, instead of trying to pull it, just rifled it down the right field line.
Say, wouldn't it aggravate you as a pitcher or a pitching coach? I mean, you keep making those kind of pitches, and that's what goes back to what we were talking about earlier, Joe, about coming inside too, on guys that keep leaning out against you and hitting the ball that they shouldn't hit. Sooner or later, you got to come inside. I mean, some part of the plate's got to belong to you as a pitcher.
We're in the bottom of the 6th. 1 out, 1 on, 1 home on a long homer by Caminiti. And the count 1-1 to Ellis Burks, who's batting .342. He has 22 home runs at the break. His career high for a season, 21.
And he has also fared just as well away from Coors Field as he has at home.
One of the few Rockies who could make that statement.
Yes.
Havlic's 1-2 pitch. A swing and a miss, but Rodriguez can't find it, and Burks heads for first as Bichette takes third on the strikeout. So a strikeout and wild pitch.
It's a slider in the dirt. Burks swings at it. Rodriguez gets in front of it, but it hits off the end of his glove and bounces away, and by the time he retrieves it, no chance to get Burks. You see that ball bounces up on him. He was in front of it, but it just hit his glove and bounced away. No play any place. Runners at first and third now.
And now Mark Wiley, who is the pitching coach for Mike Hargrove with the Indians, goes to the mound to talk with Pavlik. There's Troy Percival, one of a very few guys who doesn't just throw in the 90s, but on a good night and maybe with a generous radar gun will hit triple digits.
Well, he's got a very good fastball, live fastball as well. It's interesting when you watch Pavlik pitch, Bob, because he actually throws across his body. He does everything that they tell you not to do as a pitcher, but he becomes very deceptive to right-handed hitters because he steps and then throws across his body. It's hard for you to pick the ball up.
And especially on the breaking ball, Joe, you always have a tendency to give a little bit.
Biggio for his third at bat, grounded out, struck out. First and third, one down. Infield looks for the double play, and it's hit toward the hole. Ripken to his right, gets the force onto first. No, Biggio beats it, and another run comes across.
Well, it was a good attempt at a double play by Ripken and Knobloch. Ripken got the ball to him as quick as possible. Knobloch turned it quickly, but Biggio gets down the line well. Plus, this ball is not hit in the double play lane, as we call it, near the bag. See, Knobloch does the turn at second base about as well as you can make it. Here again, watch, see, the ball is toward the hole. Ripken gets rid of it. Quick turn at second by Knobloch, but just not in time.
And now Eric Young comes into the game to pinch run for Biggio at first, and he'll remain as the second baseman. Here's Bagwell, who struck out his first time. 2 more runs home in the 6th to make it 6-0. 6 runs, 10 hits, and an error for the National League. 0-4-0 for the American League. Boy, there's the long and short of it. McGuire looking like a tight end, and Eric Young only about 5'8", 5'9".
And he has really developed into a fine player, Bob. Eric Young, that is.
Bagwell rolls one to third. Here's Boggs, goes the short way to Knobloch covering. And finally, they're out of the 6th, but 2 more to make it 6-0. And we're back after these words from your local station. New pitcher for the National League, but Bobby Cox has a bit of a problem. Here he is talking about it in the dugout.
One of them ain't going to get the pitch.
One of them ain't going to get a pitch. It's got to be a starting pitcher in case you need innings.
We're going to have to get Trashel in the game. He's a Cubby, and they haven't been represented, for one thing. All right?
So Steve Traxel, in fact, comes in 7-5, ERA 2.14 for the Cubs. And Sandy Alomar Jr. pinch hits for Ivan Rodriguez and will stay in as the catcher. And on the first pitch, he flies out to Lance Johnson. And as you all know, the Budweiser blimp has joined us tonight. Bud 1, illuminated from the inside, providing a view of the vet from overhead in downtown Philadelphia. So what you heard Bobby Cox talking about is this. Apparently he's got to hold Al Leiter back just in case, even though they lead 6-0, this game is prolonged. He can't have a guy who's used to being a closer and working just 1 inning as his last pitcher. And it's obvious that Greg Maddux is not going to pitch at all tonight. He injured his toe when he fouled a bunt down off it a few days ago. So he's got Wohlers and Worrell left. And he's got Traxel in the game facing Ripken.
And the makeup of the 2 teams was completely different, Bob. The American League had 4 starters and 5 closers on their staff. National League had 7 starters with 3 closers.
The pitch to Cal, who's 0 for 2. In case you're just joining us, a weird situation before the game in which Cal sustained a broken nose. Hit sharply to short. One future Hall of Fame shortstop throws out the other as Smith takes care of Ripken. Roberto Hernandez of the White Sox inadvertently, as he slipped coming down off the platform where they took the team picture, flailed out with his left arm. Watch this. There's Hernandez in between Joe Carter and Ripken, and he's going to catch Cal flush on the nose. And that wasn't a love tap either. Blood was spurting. And in fact, his nose was broken, but as painful as it sounds, they were able to pop it back into place. And you don't play more than 2,200 consecutive games without playing through some bumps and bruises.
I thought it was neat that he let Hernandez pop it back in place. He said, "Can I help you?" "Yeah, you put it out, put it back."
Alex Rodriguez. Talk about a superstar on the horizon. He may have already arrived. He won't be 21 until later this month. He's batting .336 with 17 home runs at the break. And you can tell that his body hasn't filled out yet. He's going to get bigger and stronger.
I tell you, it's filled out over what he brought to the big leagues last year, Bob. Tall, lanky kid a year ago when the Mariners brought him up. And when I saw him this spring in Arizona, I said to myself, this guy's going to hit with some power, and he's a fine shortstop. Really is.
Right field, over near the line, and a nice play there. A very nice play by Gary Sheffield, the new right fielder. gauging how much room he had, and he made use of every last inch, and then in a nice gesture tosses the ball to a fan as an all-star souvenir. Stretch time in Philly, 6-0.
Welcome back to Veterans Stadium. The National League leads 6-0 as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Right now I'm joined by Mike Piazza, who would be the MVP if the game was to end right now. And Mike, this has got to be just a dream come true for you. A home run, a double. You grew up down there. We talked to your dad in section 122.
Yeah, it's I'm really walking on air right now to come back here and just participate is one thing, and to hit a home run is another. So can't really describe it. I'm very, very happy and just very honored.
Mike Schmidt, your childhood hero, he threw the first pitch to you. Describe the emotion of that.
You know, just like a dream. I mean, really, I can't describe. And then he wrote on the ball, he just wished me the best and thought I was, you know, he said, "You're the best." He goes, "I think you're the best on the ball." He wrote that there. And just to grow up and watch Mike Schmidt, a Hall of Fame third baseman, and emulate, you know, try to emulate him and become the major league player is just, I'm really emotional right now. I'm really kind of choked up. I don't know what to say.
Drafted 1390. You ever dream you'd be in this position?
Well, I dreamed it. I just wanted to, you know, be blessed and work hard, and God has blessed me, and I'm very, very thankful and just very, very honored.
Mike, thanks for taking the time. Congratulations on a great game.
Thank you.
Bob?
All right, Jim, changes everywhere. Lance Johnson slashes the first pitch from Troy Percival into center field for his third hit of the game, a double and a pair of singles. It's played back in by the new center fielder, Joe Carter, who normally does not play center, but in an all-star game you have to make do when you get into the late innings. So Carter is in between Bell and Buhner. Alex Rodriguez has replaced Ripken at short. Boggs remains. Knobloch and McGuire have been in for an inning. Brand new battery, Alomar and Percival, and a standing ovation for Ozzie Smith.
I hope he can hit.
Percival to Ozzie. From the depth of the appreciation and the chant of Ozzie, you'd think we were at Busch Stadium, not Veterans Stadium.
This is the beauty of baseball, though. The fans appreciate what Ozzie Smith has done throughout his career.
Big cut and a miss.
Joe, you've been around him a long time too, and I mean, you appreciate what he's done on the field as a shortstop, but for those of us who know Ozzie and know what he is and what he does off the field, I think it goes above and beyond what he has been as a shortstop.
And I tell you what, this has to be the toughest at bat he's ever had in his major league career.
As you may know, Royce Clayton, the former Giant, is now the regular shortstop, and Ozzie plays occasionally, but Tony La Russa has emphasized if he stays healthy, he can be helpful in a pennant race in the second half. And the Cardinals are in that chase. The pace is relatively slow in the Central. The Cardinals and Astros have both played pretty well the last couple of weeks. And so Ozzie could play some important games in the last few months. The 2-2 pitch. I tell you, I noticed some people even standing in the press box, joining the standing ovation for Ozzie. The three of us were on our feet.
Yep. And again, he deserves all that he has been given here tonight.
And a chopper towards second. Knobloch looks at second, but goes to first to retire Ozzie, with Johnson moving up.
Stops over at the National League box and says hello to Lynn Coleman, the president, and Joe Black, former Major League star.
Well, I hope this assuages some of the hard feelings. For the first time in Ozzie's career, he's so popular, not just as a player, but as a person, great in the community. There were some hard feelings in St. Louis in the last month. Sheffield never cheated, cuts and misses. He got it off his chest about how he wanted his career to end, and he felt that Tony La Russa didn't handle it properly, and La Russa clarified his position, and it was uncomfortable. People did not want to see a negative spin put on the end of Ozzie's career, and I hope that's behind him now. And you cannot criticize La Russa for what he did. There comes a time when the greatest of the great must step aside, and Royce Clayton is the better choice as the everyday shortstop now, although in a key game in a pennant race, Ozzie Smith might still win a ball game for you.
Well, there's no doubt that Ozzie Smith knows how to win. He knows how to play to win. But I agree with you, there comes a time when all great players, their skills erode to the point where sometimes they're going to have to step aside, and I'm glad Ozzie has made a decision that he is going to step aside and let everyone know that.
Sheffield with 25 homers. Percival's 1-1 pitch.
Well, that's what Troy Percival does to you. He has a 90+ mile-an-hour fastball, and then he'll throw you a changeup or a curveball, and you see Gary Sheffield way out in front of this pitch.
If he gets the second pitch over, whatever it may be, the game is over. He's untouchable then. Talking about as the closer for the Angels.
Well, this guy, he never holds anything back, Bob. I mean, more often than not, you're going to get hard stuff from this guy. I mean, it's going to be fastball, fastball, boom. And as Joe said, every once in a while he's going to drop that nasty breaking ball on you, and I mean, put you away.
The 2-2 pitch popped up in the middle of the diamond, not blocked.
I think this guy actually does you a favor when he throws you a breaking ball. Unless it's that really down and away hard biting slider. Other than that, I mean, I'd go fastball, boom, inside, outside, and here's that last pitch again on Gary Sheffield. There it is. Breaking ball right there, and Sheffield got under it and popped it up.
Caminiti, who homered off Pavlik in his only at bat, thinking about doing it twice. You may know the story with Percival. He needs glasses, doesn't wear them, doesn't like contacts, comes into the game throwing near 100-mile-per-hour heat, and look at him, he's got a squint to get the signs. You think that doesn't keep a batter loose?
Use some chapstick too.
It's good that you provide cosmetic and
well,
medical
why not? I
advice
mean,
as
watch
well.
his tongue. It's got to get, your lips got to get chewed up.
He just blew Caminiti away in that at bat. So a leadoff hit for Johnson, but they don't score. 2 innings left, still 6-0. When we asked Ozzie about his all-time best play, he went way back to early in his career when he was a Padre. Jeff Burroughs of the Braves will hit it. Watch this, a bad hop, and he barehands it.
That is the greatest play I've ever seen anybody make, you know, as an infielder. I mean, I've seen some great plays, but to dive and then to get a bad hop and to barehanded while you're in your dive, get up and throw the runner out, no one has ever done anything like that before. And that's why he's the greatest shortstop, I think, defensively that ever lived.
And as you saw in the foreground, the new pitcher is his former Cardinal teammate, Todd Worrell. And Ozzie will play at least another half inning in the field. Here's Worrell, who was an all-star way back when with the Cardinals, fought several times. His career was over, a number of arm injuries. Missed all or part of 2 seasons. Now he's come back at age 36, leads the National League with the 23 saves.
And he's one of the reasons that people feel like the Dodgers are the favorite to win the National League West, because when you have a closer like this, if you can get to the 9th inning, 90% of the time you're going to win.
Buhner now on the first pitch, pops it toward Eric Young. There's the out, and now here comes the reaction, because the pinch hitter is going to be Joe Carter, and listen to the booing. And of course, the reason for this, and Joe has smiled through it in the pregame introductions, yesterday in the workout, and now in this, his first at bat of the game, is that the last time Philly fans paid any attention to Joe Carter, he was hitting the home run that ended the '93 World Series off Mitch Williams, and now he drives one deep enough but foul.
It was funny yesterday, Bob. In the home run hitting contest, he couldn't hit a home run, and the guy started a chant, "Get Mitch out there, get Mitch out there."
There it was at Skydome. Phillies were on the verge of forcing a 7th game, but Carter ended it. Speaking of Mitch Williams, the Phillies just sent him to Clearwater to see if he can get in shape and work his way back up in a comeback attempt. Been out of the game for about a year and a half. Hit hard. Ozzie can't handle it. It would have been a tough throw from the equivalent of the outfield grass.
No chance for him to throw Joe Carter out on that play. Joe Carter runs well, and the ball was deep in the hole.
First of all, Joe, in his younger days, you may have seen him get in front.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Instead of backhanding it, Ozzie Smith, in his earlier days, gets in front of that ball and throws him out.
So this is not one for the highlight reel, and neither is the fan who has just run on the field and is delaying things by acting like a moron, and eventually he'll be collared. And they rough him up a little bit as they do. They didn't bring him to the turf all that gently. But as I was saying about Ozzie, he has established the standard that the Ray Ordonez's, the young Cuban who is so thrilling to watch with the New York Mets, or Alex Rodriguez with the Mariners, or Derek Jeter with the Yankees, or even Omar Vizquel, as great as he is, as many Gold Gloves as he has, the standard is still this guy.
And that's going to be unfair because it's going to be hard to live up to those standards that Ozzie Smith has set.
Travis Fryman of the Tigers, he's their lone representative. Score that, by the way, obviously, correctly, a base hit for Carter.
Yes.
You know, the one thing that Ozzie Smith has over all of those other guys, Joe, is the quickness and the speed. I mean, not only talking about running, but I mean lateral movement at shortstop, where he got such a great break on the ball and had a strong arm, too. I mean, he made the play from the hole, too, where he could throw you out.
Well, a couple of years ago, he had surgery on his shoulder, and that's why he doesn't have a strong arm anymore.
Off the outside corner from Worrell, 1-2, 1 on, 1 out. Bobby Cox manages to get Mark Brzelanek, the young Expo player, into the game, not at his usual position, shortstop, but at third in place of Caminiti, so Ozzie can play another inning. And Travis Fryman takes a seat as Worrell changed speeds on it. So there's Brzelanek at third and Ozzie at short. And here's Knobloch for his first at bat, leading the majors at .370. And a game would not be official unless we told you this copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without express written consent. And be sure you have a notary public review it. A ball and a strike. With Knobloch representing the Twins, our thoughts go out to Kirby Puckett. He's missed the whole season with glaucoma. Hit hard, base hit for him. Carter moves up to second. Hope to see Kirby back soon. Hope to see Brett Butler back, and Mike Piazza and others have already sent their best wishes to Tommy Lasorda. We do too.
Had a chance to see Kirby Puckett not too long ago, Bob, as you take a look at this last base hit by Knobloch. And Puckett, again, they're doing everything possible to try and alleviate the problem, the glaucoma problem, and he feels he's going to be back in play, but again, it's still a long way to go.
Mike Hargrove doesn't want his player Albert Belle to have his evening end with 3 straight strikeouts, so he's kept him in. This is his 4th at bat. 2 on and 2 out. Roberto Clemente struck out 4 times in the 1967 game, which went 15 innings at Anaheim.
It was also the game, Bob, where the sun was behind center field and they could not see the ball very well.
5 o'clock start.
Yeah.
Hit hard. Johnson closing ground on it, and he makes a running grab. Well, Bell whacked that one, but he hits in bad luck. They leave 2. Well, the NBC sports staff pretty much providing the entire guest list for the late night lineup. You're on with Leno. Marv's on with Conan. Are you on with Greg Kinnear on later?
No, I'm hanging out with you tonight.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, we had a good time. Ed Hall, who was the announcer for Jay Leno and the Tonight Show. And, yeah, he was up here all day yesterday. Brought the crew up here. We had a good time.
Here's Todd Hundley of the Mets. And Roberto Hernandez, who was almost the GOAT of the night before he ever got into the game when he inadvertently whacked Cal Ripken in the nose and broke his nose during the pregame picture-taking session. Roberto Hernandez now in. There's Cal out of the game, replaced by Alex Rodriguez at shortstop, an inning ago. Hernandez, the new pitcher. Hundley of the Mets at the plate. And a fly ball to center, which Joe Carter will take care of. Back down to Jim Gray. He's with Ozzie.
All right. Thank you very much, Bob. Ozzie, well, how about that ovation you just received? What'd that feel like for you?
Well, a lot of butterflies, and you know, it's been great for me, this whole tour. You know, the reception has been wonderful, and I just can't say thank you enough to all the people that have come out and thanked me that way. That's a very special feeling.
The tears are still in your eyes, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a very touching time. It's a very emotional time for me in my life. You know, baseball has been my life for a very long time, and you know, to reach this point, you know it's going to come at some point in time, and for me, it's now.
How difficult was this decision, and are you 100% sure that you will retire?
Oh no, I'm 100% sure that I will retire, and it's one of those things that's kind of been mulling for a few years, and you have to get it squared away in your heart first, and I've been able to do that, and I'm at peace with myself and where I am now in my life and what I've accomplished in baseball. So the time is here and now.
We just saw that barehanded play. You said it was your greatest play ever when you were with the Padres.
That ranks right up there. You know, there's been so many great things that have happened along the way, different plays, and what I've always tried to do is not harp on them for a very long time. But as we go here, I've been able to reminisce and think about all of the great things that have happened in my career, and that definitely was right up there at the top.
Ozzie, congratulations. It's been a great career. Back upstairs to you, Bob.
And as the folks saw, as we take one more look at Ozzie Smith, who obviously was moved, understandably so, by the reaction here tonight. And while Jim was talking to Ozzie, Ellis Burks with the triple to right center off Roberto Hernandez.
Well, this is the most beautiful play in the game, in my opinion, because a lot of things happen when the ball gets away from the outfielder, and most of all, Burks was flying around the bases. You see, Buhner tried to knock it down. He could not make the play that we saw Albert Bell make earlier in the ballgame.
And now Eric Young at the plate. According to my scorecard, Jason Kendall, the rookie catcher from the Pirates, is the only National League position player who hasn't played. Mark Wohlers hasn't come in. There we go. And Wilson and Vaughn haven't played for the American League. McGuire to Hernandez covering. We've gone through 8 as Young is retired. Last licks for the American League. Ozzie grabs the leather. We grab a commercial. American League down by 6 with all the big boppers, even with good pitching. Hard to imagine a shutout in this game, but that's 3 outs away. Mark Wohlers comes on. So the only people not used among those available to Bobby Cox, Al Leiter, the left-handed pitcher from the Marlins, and his own Greg Maddux, who he really didn't want to use because he has an injured toe. Mark McGuire to the plate. Opposite way and foul. Greg Vaughn of the Brewers, Dan Wilson of the Mariners haven't played yet for the American League, and Mike Hargrove hasn't used pitchers John Wetland, Jose Mesa, Jeff Montgomery, and Andy Pettit. Jason Kendall, the rookie catcher of the Pirates, is in for the 9th. He's catching Wohlers. So Cox used all of his position players. And here we have Mark McGuire, who so far this year is hitting 1 home run every 7.5 times at bat. Nobody, including Ruth, has ever homered at that clip in the history of baseball if he can sustain it for the full year. And that one's out of play.
Bob, the reason that he is able to hit home runs even after being injured and missing so many games is because he has such a short swing. And when you have a short swing, it does not take you long to get back in the groove. And that's why he's able to sustain the home run ratio that he has so far this season.
Along with being 6'5" and having 20-pound arms.
Rips it to center, and it drops for a leadoff hit.
See, he doesn't care how hard you throw because he can get the bat through quick enough.
Yeah, we don't want to leave this 9th inning without once again thanking the folks in the Bud 1 airship, Anheuser-Busch's traveling ambassador. For his career, Mark McGwire is now second on the all-time home runs per time at bat list to Babe Ruth.
Not bad company.
Nope. Last year was 8+. This year he's even better.
7.5. 1 every 7.5. Sandy Alomar Jr. down the right field line and foul. This being the city of brotherly love. Brothers as teammates, Sandy and Roberto. And Sandy Sr., the infielder who played with many clubs, played in 1 All-Star game as an Angel, I recall, in 1970. Sandy Jr.'s 0 for 1 since replacing Ivan Rodriguez. Before this ball game ends, you sit in a booth and broadcast an All-Star game this year, you'd be remiss not to mention Mel Allen, who called 15 All-Star games and countless World Series and so many great events, and was more than just a great announcer. He had one of those voices that just becomes the soundtrack of your summer, like Vin Scully or Ernie Harwell or Jack Buck or the other great announcers. And they're a dwindling breed. His voice made you feel that warmth and affection for the game. Mel passed away a few weeks ago. One of the true greats. Hit slowly to Ozzie, scoops it up, gets the force. Can Young turn it? Yes, he can. Double play. With Alomar running, that was possible.
Well, how many of those has Ozzie started in his career? Wohlers gets the ground ball. Ozzie charges. It's a good slider down and away. Ozzie charges, gives the second baseman a routine throw. Young comes across, turns it, and that's a 6-4-3 double play.
And now apparently they're going to take a chance. In order to get Leiter into the game, they'll take Wohlers out with 2 down and let Leiter, who pitched a no-hitter earlier this year against Colorado, finish it. And that gives us another chance to do some business, which everyone in the offices at NBC appreciates. Dan Wilson, the Mariner catcher, comes on to pinch hit, so apparently only Greg Vaughn of the Brewers among the position players will fail to get in. Bobby Cox used everybody available to him except Greg Maddux. A few pitchers didn't make it into the game for the American League, but Vaughn the only hitter who will be denied unless something gets going here for the American League as Wilson swings and misses. Watch this scene a moment ago. Let's see if we can get it up here. Ozzie Smith and Eric Young, after they turned the double play, look at the good feeling surrounding this All-Star game, and they're going to embrace. First the hand slap and then the embrace.
Well, Eric Young can tell his grandkids that he played with the great Ozzie Smith and made a double play.
You know, I've been as critical as anybody about the state of baseball, and there are a few jerks around the game, but around these clubhouses the last couple of days, the genuine good feeling would have impressed the average fan. The youngsters like Alex Rodriguez and Mark Grudzielanek, so appreciative and respectful. The guys in the last go-around like Ozzie or Joe Carter might not be the last, but near the end, their attitude, they haven't been jaded or cynical. I think they understand, most of them do, that there is a bridge to be crossed again between this game and the people who used to love it and want to love it again.
Well, I think it's about time they realize it too, Bob. I mean, this has gone on long enough. And you know, the good feelings are both ways. I mean, National League guys grabbing American League guys during that home run contest, batting practice yesterday. It was fun for everybody. I mean, for the younger players to meet the American League stars and vice versa. It was a good day yesterday. It really was. And today.
Leiter a strike away from finishing it. Thanks to Elliott Kalb and Jeff Sleet in the booth and Steve Horn for his assistance from afar. And the fastball is inside. 2-2. Guys in the truck. John Gonzalez, our producer. Andy Rosenberg, our director. They'll be heading to Atlanta with us after the game.
Guys in the vans that brought us over here.
Absolutely.
Not only the trucks.
Room service guys at the hotel. The ball girl, she's done a good job.
Everybody. All our people up here.
2 out, nobody on in the ninth. The 2-2 pitch. And Wilson hangs in. Wilson's always been a good receiver. This year up to 308 with 12 homers at the break. Shallow right. This will do it. Sheffield tucks it away, and the National League, which had lost 6 in a row, has now won 3 straight. And who would have thought in a year like this in baseball that you'd see a shutout in the All-Star game? The American League's Big Boppers held to only 7 hits. The National Leaguers win it 6-0. Smoltz the winner. Nagy the loser. Homers by Piazza and Caminiti. And a fond farewell for Ozzie Smith. We'll have the MVP presentation when we come back to Philadelphia right after this. Well, Mike Piazza started establishing his all-star credentials with his first at-bat tonight. He sent a tape measure shot soaring deep into the Philadelphia night. Later, he added an RBI double. The National League wins it 6-0, and to make it official as far as the MVP is concerned, here's Hannah Storm.
And indeed it is official. Philadelphia's native son wins the MVP award in his hometown, and here is Acting Commissioner Bud Selig to present the trophy.
Thank you, Hannah, and Mike, congratulations. And on behalf of Major League Baseball, congratulate you for winning the 1996 Most Valuable Player Award in the All-Star Game. Richly deserved. Great performance. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
All right, why don't you take the trophy, first of all.
Thank you, Commissioner Selig. I appreciate it.
Mike, you told us before the game that dreams come true, but could you ever have dreamed of this type of scenario, winning the MVP here in Philly?
I really can. I mean, I'm trying to keep myself calmed down, but I'm very, very happy and just very excited. It's a tremendous honor growing up in this ballpark, and you know, just to participate here is one thing, and then to do pretty well is another thing.
And you just came up right away in that huge shot off Nagy. Were you thinking home run when you came up, or just that you wanted to do something special for the fans here?
Well, not really. When you think home run, you get into trouble. So, I mean, I was just looking for a pitch to drive, and you know, fortunately for me, I got a pitch, and I didn't try to do too much with it. Just put a good swing on it, and obviously, you know, it's always not that easy. We know that, but it felt good tonight just to put a nice swing on the ball.
We talked to your father tonight. He could hardly describe what it meant for him to have you here, to have the success that you've had. He's the one person who's always believed in you.
Oh, absolutely. My father is just, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today. He's just been obviously a big part of my life and inspiring me never to give up, believing in myself, you know, just the way my career has gone. And he said, hey, just look for an opportunity. When you get it, work hard, and Lord willing, and I've been blessed. And so, I mean, again, I'm very, very grateful and very, very honored.
And now you are the inspiration for all those young boys sitting in the stands here at the Vet as you did 20 years ago. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Ann. Appreciate it.
Let's send it back up to Bob Costas.
Thank you, Hannah, and congratulations to Mike Piazza. And despite all the achievements of the All-Stars tonight, it was a guy who really didn't do all that much on the field that might leave the greatest lingering impression, kind of a Lifetime Achievement Award for Ozzie Smith tonight, and a great reception for him at the Vet. The final score, National League 6, American League nothing. Most of these NBC stations will bring you The Tonight Show shortly with Jay Leno. Jay's guests will be Denzel Washington, Robert Klein, and Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker. That's following your local news. Great to be around baseball these last couple of days. For Joe and Bob, Hannah and Jim, I'm Bob Costas. Good night from Philadelphia.